Alright, so this is a sneak peek at my blade of Talzin style coming to phase 2 of my ProffieOS7 library. It'll initially be an early access release, and it should be later this week. I do have to finish up a couple more things and hopefully shoot a couple of videos like this one. But this is a sneak peek of the new style based on the Ahsoka series. What I did in watching the actual episode is I adjusted the animations on a fire blade and added a bunch of responsive capabilities. The first thing is this particular blade, as you move it, it will pick up in intensity, and it'll hold that intensity for a short period. So swinging it around builds up the intensity of the flame. In addition, in watching how they do the animation when it's being held still, as you move the blade downward or parallel, it kind of slows and the gaps between the flames increases. And then as you bring it up, it's going to pick up a little bit in intensity and it's going to fill in more of the blank spots with fire. The other thing about this particular style is in the episode, the actual blade or the sword itself is curved at the end and it's a little bit wider. And as a result, they make the flame bigger at the end of the blade. So what this style has is the tip of your blade will always be a little bit more illuminated. That's meant to make the effect look bigger. It still takes on the fire effect, but the end of the blade, no matter where you place it, is always going to be a little bit more full and a little bit brighter than the rest of the effect. And that's just to kind of mimic, again, what we see just because of how they were animating that fire. In the episode, the fire also always moves away from the hilt. So even when we're pointing it straight down, the flame effect is still going to move away from the hilt. But again, because it's responsive, you're going to get a little more sparse when you're pointing down. And then as you come up, it'll fill in more. And it'll also, as you move it, it will pick up in that intensity. So you can see I can apply more intensity by moving it around for a little bit longer. And then it will settle itself back in. But just trying to mimic a little bit of what we were able to see in the episode. And obviously, because we're in NeoPixels, we can't get quite as fine-tuned, but it does have a ghost-like effect to it. So there's always a little bit of a background animation, almost like a smoke blade. But the primary fire effect is going to react to movement, it's going to react to blade angle, and then again it does have that application where the end of the blade is meant to be always brighter than what's going on the rest of it. So this will be a brand new style in phase 2. And of course you can enhance it, you can change the colors, you can modify the effects, but it'll be part of the phase 2 release, which again should be later this week. So more to come. I'm just trying to wrap up a few other pieces and figure out a few things that are giving me a little bit of trouble. But once that's all done, there's a ton of new stuff coming in phase 2, so I'm going to try to do a few more of these videos as I'm working on stuff, both to inform everybody of what's coming, but also so that I can include it in the library. So there will be all of the Ahsoka characters I do have styles for in phase 2. So this one being the Blade of Talzin, but I do have for all the other lightsaber characters that appear throughout the episode, I do have styles for them as well in the library. So those will be available once phase 2 rolls out. So keep an eye out, and as soon as it's ready to go, I will be launching that for my early access patrons. So hope you enjoy.